Hey, what's going on, real estate investors? John here. I am behind a multi-unit property that I own in LA, and I just took a massive loss on this property. Huge. About give or take, probably $6,000 a month for the last 10 months, coming up on 11 months, and it's going to be longer. I wouldn't be surprised if it's about $100,000 in overall losses. I'm going to share what happened in this video and how you can avoid big mistakes and big losses in real estate. We're going to be stepping into a big recession, and if you know what you're doing, you know what losses to avoid, you're going to make a killing. So in this video, I'm going to break down the losses, share exactly what happened, and I'm going to share a lot of tips and tricks so you can avoid these losses. Smash that like button. Smash the like button if you're going to invest in real estate in this recession. Comment, subscribe, type in the comment section, I have subscribed. I'll respond to your comments. I'll respond to all comments. And let's do this property tour. I'm going to show you everything that just happened. All right, guys, let's do it. So 2 days ago in this unit, someone tried to break in and rob the place. I have this on camera, on video. The cops came, arrested the person. Just an absolutely crazy story.
I'm resisting, yes, because I didn't break in. I had to, no.
Primary is 57.
No matter, sir. Look, I'm not getting detained. I'm not going to give you a warrant of first charge. No. And then you tell me.
Do you have anything?
Lady broke in, and as she broke in, she opened the door, put one foot inside, and she didn't realize there's an MMA fighter inside the unit. He grabs her, throws her inside the unit, runs after the other guy who is huge. He looks like Debo from Friday.
I'm Debo. Who? Debo.
And ultimately what ended up happening was I called the cops. I didn't want anything to do with it. I called the cops. The cops came, arrested her.
Violation.
Tracked him down, arrested him. It was just been craziness, absolute craziness in LA recently. But I mean, this property has just been one thing after the next.
Have arrested the female, one, and then the male.
This is one of the 2 units in the back that I built. And what I decided to do is I wanted these units to be separately metered for utilities. I did not want to pay the water bill or the utility bill for either unit if I decided to rent them out. And that could cost me $300, $400 per month. So that could be $5,000 a year just in utility bills. So I figured it would make a lot more sense to have these separately metered for utilities and pay Department of Water and Power to install these water meters. $12,000 to have these installed. I wrote the check, I paid the $12,000. They had a 90-day window to go ahead and install the water meters. And then out of nowhere, street services comes, they pave the street. And at that time, as they were paving the street, I called Department of Water and Power, and they said, no, they're just cleaning up the street. It's not a full pave, and they're just putting a layer over. It'll be fine. And I said, okay, fine. And then they came out the next day, and they said, no, it was paved. There's a 1-year waiting period for us to cut the street. It's 1 year. So let's just say hypothetically that we have this unit here, and these are units in LA, so you can use your imagination. And it's right next to a school. Rents are very expensive here if I were to rent them. I'm not sure if I would, but if I were to rent them, that's a lot of money. And every single month I just had to sit and wait. So what I did was I went to the city and I was going religiously. I contacted people. Coincidentally, one of the representatives, their assistant, follows me on Instagram and helped me push this along. And I'm not sure if she wants me to mention her name, but big thank you to you. You really did help me out because now the meters are installed. We're ready to go. See that big cut in the street right there? That right there. That big cut in the street is where they installed these 2 water meters right there. And those 2 water meters will now issue water to the back units. So it was probably a 8-month window, 9-month window just to get them to cut the street and just to put everything in. And the city shut down. Everything was shut down with the sickness that was going around. And this is the main lesson here, is that you can never bank on things always working out, because let's just be honest, they never do. They never work out exactly as planned. Things always happen. Things always come up. I mean, I had these units built this really beautiful building, start to finish in 6 months in LA. I mean, that's unheard of. No one does that in 6 months. I've been waiting longer than it took to build, and now it's installed. Now the water meter's installed, and I'm gonna show you the big holdup. I mean, look at the weeds. Everything's just been so overgrown. So without those 2 water meters being hooked up, you're not able to obtain water. You're not able to rent these units. You're not able to get the certificate of occupancy. These units are dead in the water. You can't do anything. And that was ultimately the problem. The problem was that relied on the city to fulfill on their obligation to hook up the water meters on their schedule that we had agreed to. And they didn't abide by that. They didn't abide by it. They weren't on top of it, even though I called them nearly a dozen times over that 80, 85 day waiting period. And they blew off the fact that the street was being paved. They blew everything off. And then after that, it was just a goose chase trying to get them to get it done. And then the city shut down. And then the city was backed up. It was just a big nightmare. But the number one rule, the number one lesson here is that I did not over leverage. I didn't over leverage myself. I didn't take out a big mortgage. I didn't put myself in a dangerous position. Because when you put yourself in that position, you take on unnecessary risk. When things don't go 100% your way, then you might lose the property. You might lose, you really might just lose the deal. You might go bankrupt if you don't pay attention to the worst case scenario. Fortunately for me, my mortgage on this property is so little that it was not a threat to me. And so that worked out well for me. However, I was tempted to take out a bigger mortgage, maybe, I don't know, a year ago, 10 months ago, to try to buy other properties. But I decided, you know what, I'm not going to get greedy. Prices in LA right now are very, very high. It's hard to find a great deal. I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna see what happens, and I'm gonna get this project done before I move on to other projects. That's the rule. Don't over leverage. If you over leverage, it's gonna be a big problem. You're gonna see so many people going bankrupt over the next 6 to 12 months, and a lot of them are gonna be people that over leverage. And don't do that, do not do that. So that's what happened. That's a huge mistake, and it's not even my fault. However, it doesn't matter. It comes on me. It falls on me. I built this property start to finish in 6 months. Everything I did was straight by the code, by the book. Everything is done correctly. However, when it came time to fulfill the city's obligation, I got screwed big time. But ultimately, you have to be prepared for those losses. That's what happens in real estate, especially in development, especially whenever you take on a project, things do not always go your way. They don't always go your way. So if you're over leveraged to the point to where you can't withhold that type of pressure, that type of pain, then you're in over your head. You should be able to easily afford the debt commitments that you take on. And we're gonna see a lot of people, I'm talking a ton of people, losing everything. I just read an article, 365,000 tenants in LA right now are at the jeopardy of going through eviction. 365,000 in a population of 18 million. It's crazy. There's so many people right now hurting financially. But I'm happy I did not take so much risk on this property. I didn't take a big mortgage. I did not put myself in that dangerous position. And that's why I could withstand letting these units sit vacant until it got done. But you know, that's a part of real estate. So always be cautious, be aware, be ready for losses. And the smart investors, they know that losses will come, but they're prepared for them, and they hedge their bet. They hedge their risk, and they're always aware of things that can come up and things that can blow up in their face. That's number one rule, is do not over leverage yourself, and always be prepared. Smash that like button for Debo. Smash that. Drop it in the comments. If you just subscribed, drop in the comments that you just subscribed. I'll respond to all comments, any questions, any video suggestions, whatever you guys need, drop it in the comments. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.